The system says it's showtime. That's what it says in this little software I'm using. It is Thursday, June the 11th, and actually a very special day in my life. Happens to be my wedding anniversary, number 15. And I would say, honey, if you're watching, I love you. Happy anniversary. I don't think she's going to watch this, though. But it is June 11th, and it is day number 4 of the Remodeler show. And let's have a proper introduction from a friend and client.
Hi, this is Jeff Wright from Northwest Ohio with Wright & Son Construction, and this is the Remodeler Show with Kyle, the Storyman Hunt. Now, here's Kyle.
Oh, very, very, very nicely done, Mr. Jeff Wright. Mr. Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright is down in Ohio. What did he say? The Storyman Hunt. So again, I'm telling people, just created a little intro, and that's what he went with, which is related to the quote of the show of the day. And the quote of the day is simply this: stories. Stories. The reason Jeff is mentioning that is evidently that is something in my coaching with him, in my teaching with him, that has stuck with him. Here's where it comes from. Jim Rohn, professional development guy. And this idea of stories, I was watching a video. It was probably 10 years ago on YouTube with Jim Rohn. And he was talking about the power of stories. Guys, you got to remember your stories. You know, facts tell, stories sell. You've got so many stories that you can be using in your business, in your sales process, when you're talking to clients and prospects. Make sure you capture your stories. And he was saying it that way just to kind of get my attention so that 10 years later, I still remember that. But the nuts and bolts behind it is that when we share ideas, when we help people make selections in the remodeling process, when we help people navigate just the whole process of remodeling, the more that we can use stories instead of just facts, the more effective it will be. We are wired as humans to relate and understand and be connected and remember and be moved by stories. So that's the quote of the day. And an action step from that would be capture, what stories do you have? You have a story. Don't tell me you don't. You have a story. That sounded rude. I apologize to my beautiful viewers. You have stories. You have a story, I bet, that is that client that chose not to go with you and went with somebody else. And then about 3, maybe 5 weeks later, you got that call that said, well, we decided to save some money, but we need you to come back. What's that story? You have a story where you have a client, just very practical. You're talking to a prospect and you're talking about countertops. And you could say, you know, you got 2 options here really that I see. You could go granite or you could go Cambria. You know, the benefits and the pros and cons of granite and the pros and cons of this, you could state facts to them. Or you could say, you know, what's interesting about this is last month we had this exact same situation come up with another client we worked with. And let me kind of tell you the story of how they decided. You've got that person's attention. They want to hear more. They're going to remember that more. Do you see the distinction between those two things? So more and more in your everyday interactions, sales, production management, all of that, capture stories, maybe even make a list of all the different stories that you have from your business that you can just be able to more easily remember because you've made a list of it. So that is the quote of the day. We're going to keep on chugging.
It's time for today's Marketing Minute.
It is time for today's Marketing Minute. What I want to do is tell you a story. See how I just did that, people? See how I just did that? I'm implementing what I'm telling you. I did a webinar for Clear Estimates. It was a year plus ago. Worked with the guys at Clear Estimates. I've done a few webinars with them and wasn't expecting anything from them. I see it as an opportunity for me to build my audience and get more people to know who I am. And they're a really good software company. They've got they're willing to host a webinar with me. So it was about a week after I got done with the webinar, and I went, oops, I got to go this way for it. I went down there, which is which is I'm on the second floor of this old building. And I went to my mailbox down there, and I opened up the mailbox, and there's a nice little card from Clear Estimates. I open it up, and whoo! Not only is it just a nice little thank you from them, there is a $75 gift certificate to have dinner at the Wooden Spoon, which happens to be my wife's favorite local restaurant here in beautiful Brighton, Michigan. Share that story. I remember how that felt when I got it. I was like, that's so nice. That was so cool. They didn't have to do that. That was like, I didn't expect that. And when we used it and I paid with that, who did I think of? I thought of them. Here's where I'm going at here in this marketing minute. Referrals. Two parts of it. One, when somebody sends you a referral, even if it hasn't developed into a paying project yet, we need to recognize that. We need to do something to thank them for that. Maybe that is a quick text. Maybe that is getting a card and writing on it, thanks a latte, and putting a little $10 Starbucks card in there. That's funny, by the way. Thanks a latte. You get it? Coffee, latte. Just a little bit of thank you so much. We can't thank you enough, and we appreciate you sharing who we are with your friends. If you shoot a text, hey, so-and-so reached out the other day. Thank you so much. Every time you get a referral, you should be tripping over yourself to thank that person. Secondly, when it comes to referrals, what do we do when the client actually signs with us? What do we do when they actually become a paying project? John Jantz wrote a book called The Referral Engine. He studied small business referral programs. And if John was on this, listening to this right now, and I said, John, when somebody refers us and that becomes a sale or a paying project, should we do anything for the person that referred? He would say, absolutely. Studies show, my studies and research have shown, absolutely. It could be a $75 dinner gift card. It could be a $100 gift card. It could be, what we love to do is we love to donate $100 to the local charity of your choice as a thank you. It could be a variety of things, a nice gift basket for a local place that you support. Just something that's going to surprise them. We don't want it to be over the top. We don't want it to be chintzy, but just something nice. What the study showed, what I have also found in my own life and experience, is that when you reward and thank and appreciate people that refer you, they refer you more often than if you didn't. Fact. Not fake news. Fact. That happens. So those two things is the marketing minute. Make sure you are thanking any and all people that refer you leads. And then when it signs, make sure you're doing something nice. Reward them. That is going to build more know, like, and trust. They're really going to appreciate it, and they're going to refer you more.
Quick comment check.
Quick little comment check. I see 7 of them popping up there. We got some happy anniversaries. Well, thank you. We love sending gift cards. Ernie, I got your call yesterday. I have not had a chance to give you a buzz back. We will work to do that soon. Got a kind of a busy week launching this and being off last week. My week is pretty full, but we will connect, my friend. Cool. Love sending gift cards. So glad that's working. We got some good viewers here. We got some good engagement. Thank you very much for the anniversary wishes. I have been joking with my wife. One of the things that my beloved does is sometimes she tries on a shirt in the morning and may not like it and kind of tosses it on the bed and then moves to the next shirt. Sometimes there might be, 2 or 3. Sometimes there might be 12 or 13. Never know. And one thing I have done is, when we're winding down the day, a lot of times those shirts are still there. I will often just go ahead and hang them up for her. It's just something I like to do. I like to serve. And I don't mind it. But I've been joking the last day. When I was hanging them up last night, I said, honey, it's been a good 15-year run of me hanging up these shirts for you at the end of the night. But if you looked very closely at our wedding vows, you saw that we kind of go back and forth every 15 years. So for the next 15 years, you're going to hang up my clothes for me. And then after that's done, once we hit 30, I'll do it for the next 15. She kind of just rolled her eyes at me. And I don't think she thought I was serious, but maybe I was. All right. So put some questions in there. The last 2 episodes, you guys have hijacked the latter part of the show with good questions, which Bailey and I were talking about this yesterday. Bailey, my marketing director and employee extraordinaire, and it's kind of good. We love getting these questions, and I love to just answer things on the fly. So make sure you're tossing any questions that come in, or even in between time. If you want to email me, if you want to post after the live show, hey, here's a question for tomorrow, I'd love that. All right, let's keep on chucking.
Let's get some insight from a coaching call.
Yes, we shall. From a coaching call, there was a one-on-one call I was doing with one of my local clients yesterday. We were doing it via Zoom, and I was looking at one of the action steps that we captured at the end of the call, and it said, Ed to share notes from the team meeting he had. What takeaways and things they want to change did they share? So a couple things here. One is I wanted to see those details so that I could kind of hear it. But what this was from is that Ed had a full team meeting with his crew, just kind of catch up on things, and they socially distanced, but they were meeting in person. And at the tail end of the meeting, or the latter part of the meeting, he said, I want to go around the horn here. I want to go around the room, and I want you guys to share two things. One, what is a takeaway from the meeting that we just had that we covered that really stuck with you? And two, what's one thing that you'd like to change in the company? What's one thing that you'd like to change or see improved in the business? And he said, Kyle, like they were sharing really good thoughts. They were engaged. Everybody had something to share. And so there are a couple things there. Asking your team what takeaways after a meeting, what they would see to improve. He got a lot of great ideas from that. Secondly, he had a team meeting. He invested that time and that money in having that meeting because he knows that building that relationship, making sure everybody's on the same page, builds team. And his team's growing. He's up to 11, almost 12 as soon as that person signs on. He made an offer yesterday. 12 people. It's important as the business grows. So that was from a coaching call yesterday. I think a couple good reminders for you guys to hear. You know what that sound means? I actually don't know what that sound means. I'm just playing with the different things that we've implemented in here. Here's another one. That is the sound that we would make if you asked the team, what is some things you want to change about the business, and they had nothing. That would be the trumpet fail sound. That would be a bad thing. But you're going to be surprised. You ask your team, you're going to find some good ideas to improve. All right. We are now to the part that I was just mentioning a minute ago.
AKA, ask Kyle anything. It's time for your questions.
It is. So let's see them flowing. I got a hey, Kyle. I got to like that. All right. So I'm going to sit here kind of and let you guys maybe toss in a few questions. We've got a good number of viewers, and sometimes it takes a minute to get some questions in. I'll mention the St. Louis Cardinals hat today. Part of the reason I was wearing a new hat each day because I wanted each of these videos to look a little bit different because I'm like, what day was that from? But also the St. Louis Cardinals hat kind of ties in with my wife and anniversary. I remember having a hat like this from when I went out to South Dakota for a wooden bat baseball tournament when I was playing American Legion ball between my senior year of high school and freshman year of college. Questions, people, hook me up here. I'm ad-libbing though in the meantime. And I bought this hat when I was out west. Why a St. Louis Cardinals hat when I was out there? I don't know. But I got it. And there's all kinds of pictures that my wife and I have of me wearing this hat while we were dating. And then the hat got lost. So it was about a year ago, I was ordering a new Detroit Tigers hat, which is kind of my staple hat that I always have. And I saw this bright red St. Louis Cardinals hat that I used to wear. And I thought, oh, I'm going to buy that. And then I'm going to put it on. And then I'm going to look lovingly at my wife and be like, what do you think? What do you think? And she had no recollection of it. It kind of fell on its face. So there's my St. Louis Cardinals hat. That ad-lib worked beautifully because while I was ad-libbing, bam, ask Kyle anything. We got a question. How do you feel, Jim said, how do you feel about giving gift certificates to your own company? So I have had clients in the past offer 2 hours of handyman service as a thank you. You know, hey, well, maybe a lot of times they give a little bit of an option, 2 hours handyman service or $100 dinner gift card to one of these two restaurants or something like that. It's not something that's stuck. It's kind of an interesting idea. There's always little projects around the house that, you get two hours of a skilled carpenter and handyman around somebody's office or around somebody's home. yeah, can you fix that? That's always been weird. But then it inevitably ends up being like a 3-hour project or 4-hour project, or just is a little clunky. So that hasn't necessarily worked. Jim, what you're talking about of maybe just saying, for every referral you send us that becomes a new project, we'll give you a $300 credit towards a future project with us. It's not a bad idea, but it doesnit have that immediate feel that I feel and that I think other people feel when they get just a nice gift certificate that I can use right then. So it doesn't have that instant impact. There's no guaranteeing that they're going to use it in the future, or it might be years later. So they kind of got to keep track of it. There's a little bit of tracking that maybe you have to do. I think it becomes a little more clunky and not as quick, simple, clean, and easy and effective, because they use it and they appreciate it right then. So I would go with something that has a little bit of a local flair. Maybe there's a local restaurant that you love. Maybe there's a local organization that you want, or a business you want to support. I kind of go there. It just is real simple and clean. But I say that I haven't had a lot of clients try what you're describing there, but it feels a little clunkier, if you know what I mean. Cool. Or, yeah, like you said, sawbucks. It's not you're warming me up to the idea now that you throw out the old sawbucks. Naming it that, there might be some potential there. So my meetings with a company is like talking to zombies. How can I get them engaged other than the suggestion you just made? So the suggestion was good. What we did on day 1 and 2, and I'll keep bringing it back. I'm just going to kind of keep the Remodeler show fresh. But what we did the first 2 days is we did a 1-word open. So John, the next team meeting that you have, you're going to do a 1-word open. And that 1-word open is basically, all right, boys and girls, let's go around the horn. Everybody share with me 1 word that's on your mind right now. And don't let them duplicate the same word. That's the only other rule. So you're going to hear stressed, interested, good, worried, frustrated. You're going to get tired. You're going to get a pulse of the room, and you're also going to get everybody to vocally say something. So that's one simple way of doing it. All of a sudden, it just breaks the ice. Everybody has said something in the meeting right off the bat, and you have a pulse on how everybody's feeling. The other thing, John, that I would do is, it is not 100% your responsibility to run and manage this entire meeting. And everybody on that team, let's say you get to the safety part of the meeting. Well, old lead carpenter Johnny, who is a zombie in most meetings, he knows ahead of time, Johnny, you're going to run the safety part of the meeting next week. So I want you just to prepare that. You've been through it many times, just like 5 minutes. I want you to own that part of the meeting. Give responsibility and hand off simple responsibility to multiple people. Say, hey, we're not moving on from this part of the meeting until I hear a couple pieces of feedback to what I just brought up. Let that pause sit there. Let that pause sit there until somebody finally breaks the ice. So often when somebody breaks the ice, then they're rolling. So those are a couple ideas. Look at how you're conducting the meeting. How can you get them more involved? How can you just manage the meeting better? By saying, hey, Kyle, do you have a thought on that? Call on people. Do it not in a hard way, but just saying, Kyle, I remember you talking about that a couple weeks ago, and I feel like you have some insight and input that would be helpful here. What would you say to this topic? Get them involved, draw them out. And there's a lot of people that just don't feel comfortable speaking in a group, but a little bit of drawing them out, making it feel comfortable. When somebody shares something good, making a big stinking deal about it, that is such a great idea. Thank you so much for that. They see that you appreciate that. So John, there's some ideas. You've got to kind of evaluate how you're doing it right now. And I guess here's my other hard thing for you, is the reason there's zombies right now is because of the way you are running the meeting. Sorry, bud. Right? You're running the meeting in a way that they're not feeling engaged and feeling a part of it, or comfortable sharing, or maybe the last time they shared, they kind of got shot down. I don't know. But those simple ways, look at how you're running the meeting, get some of them involved in running the meeting, do the 1-word open, do the takeaways, say, boys, we're not ending this meeting till you share 5 takeaways that we had from today. Right? All right, cool. And have somebody be the note taker. Make sure that you're not doing that. Sorry. One other idea is make sure you have an agenda and you have somebody taking care of being the timekeeper. If you have a meeting and everybody has an agenda in front of them, and next to each agenda items, 10 minutes for this, 5 minutes for that, 10 minutes for that, that's a really effective way to keep people engaged. And then somebody on that team is also the timekeeper. Hey, boys, we got 1 more minute left in this segment. And if you're really quirky, you could say, hey, timekeeper, what I want you to do today is I want you to get our attention and have something kind of fun at the end of every 10 minutes. There's that can also add some levity and some humor to it. So there's 10 ideas for you. Cool. What kind of referral programs do you suggest? People have discussed this in my RA meetings. Simple, easy to execute, fun, local, not over the top, not too cheap. So what I just described of doing just something nice every time and making it a bit of a surprise. I have just not seen a published, hey, send us referrals and we will give you a $500 sawbucks, or we'll do this for you. Your referrals are going to naturally happen because you are developing a wonderful relationship. You've built know, like, and trust, and they want to refer you. They want to remark about you. But when they do that, we reward them. We thank them profusely. That's what leads to more consistent referrals. So there's a few thoughts on that. Rhonda said, we send a gift card to each and every referring client. If we get the job, then we send them a larger gift. Cool. John, owning it, babe. Baby. I called you baby. Sorry. Owning it, my man. It's my fault for sure. I've seen this several times here in the last few months of some of my clients just saying, you know what? I got to look in the mirror on this. I'm tired of telling myself and having this narrative that the reason that I keep churning through employees is because they're just a bunch of crappy employees. Maybe it's about time that I look at how I manage my employees, how I hire employees, how I train them, how I motivate them. So John, that's the first step. Man, it's my fault. The reason they're zombies is my fault. And hopefully you just heard several ideas to kind of spruce that up and try it. This is one of the things of you're going to mature as a business owner and how you manage your team by improving how you manage the meeting. And that's going to have ripple effects. That's going to be great. Get them involved. Cool. Start the meeting with 10 jumping jacks. Awkward, but good. Totally agree. The bait is not good. Yeah. The bait just doesn't feel right. You're referring me because you trust me and there's a need. It isn't one of those I need, 3 names of your friends and neighbors that I can contact. No, we're not sleazy slime balls, right? We do a remarkable job so that they happily refer us to their family and friends, whether it's at the end of the job, 3 months later, or 3 years later. What I see 8 out of 10 remodelers doing is not doing squat for the people that refer them. And that's silly. That's not good marketing. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little feisty. Sometimes I get a little feisty. As you can see, I love the on the spot questions. So that was the Ask Kyle Anything. We're going to have time for maybe one more check on that as we move along.
It's time for a reminder to help you improve your sales process.
It is time for a reminder to help you improve your sales process. I'll probably expand on this in the future, but I'm just going to hit it in the short version right now. I sometimes look at content like this. You got kind of like the Twitter version, just a real short boom. Here's the point. Yeah, a little bit more of the Facebook, version, a little more expanded. Here's a little more. Then you got the blog post or article that kind of really digs into it. I'm going to give you kind of the Facebook length version of this. Sales process. This is how we work. 5 powerful words when talking to a remodeling prospect. This is how we work. Question 1. Do you have your sales process written out in a document that if I am a prospect coming to your website, meeting you for the first time, getting ready to have an appointment with you, do I clearly know step by step how your remodeling process works? Ooh, I'm going to pause dramatically here. Again, I would say 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10 of the remodelers that I have started to work with or that I just know out there would say, no, I do not have that written out. It is an incredibly powerful sales tool. I am just more and more and more convinced that we have to continue to explain, clarify, sell the next step in the process, show them step by step what happens in our sales process. Because when they're clear on that, it's so much easier for prospects to continue to move forward. When we don't have that written out, when they don't really understand that, when we kind of half-heartedly explain it a little bit on the phone or a little bit in person, it's murky. And people that are confused don't buy. People that are clear buy. So that's my Facebook version of this. There's more to it, but do you have your sales process written out? If not, that is a important thing to do. And I'm feeling wanting to give value. If you shoot Bailey an email, bailey@remodelyourmarketing.com, or you can shoot it to me, kyle@remodelyourmarketing.com, and you say, Kyle, you said that on the Remodeler show on your anniversary date of June 11th, 2020, that if I emailed you and said, can you send me a lesson where you dove into teaching on this is how we work, that you would send me that lesson that other people pay for. Can you send me a link to that? Or you can just say this, send me that link to the sales process training. And I'm going to do that for you because you are engaged and taking action as a result of the Remodeler show. And this is about creating value for you guys. Not a single person, by the way. I've been back in the office for the last week. I have this gorgeous, wonky, interesting map. Nobody has asked me a single time, what's up with that map? What's going on with that? But if nobody's going to ask me, I'm not going to tell you. All right.
Let Kyle tell you about a remodeler on the rise.
Okay, we're going to rapid fire through these last few here. Jeff Wright with Wright & Son Construction is the person that was kind enough to record the intro to today's show. A couple things about Jeff that hopefully you can then input into your world. One, Jeff, after years in business, said, enough. I am going to understand my numbers. I'm going to have my QuickBooks and my P&L organized. I'm going to understand why I charge what I charge in my markup. I'm going to understand job costing. In his case, he signed on with Melanie Hodgdon, Hodgdon, Melanie Hodgdon. She works in our industry. She does QuickBooks. He worked with her for a few years. That was right before we started working together years ago. And he dug in and worked with time, energy, effort, and investing money into it to understand his numbers. And it has propelled his business forward over the last 6, 7, 8 years in an incredible way compared to that previous 10, 15 years in business. Knowing your numbers is so important. Invest time in it. I haven't talked about that much on the Remodeler show, but the financials will be coming up in future episodes. Jeff is somebody who reads and studies and is always about incremental improvements. And I think that's something we got to be filling ourselves with new ideas, fresh ideas, and work to implement them. All right. Sweet. Cool. Let me click on this.
Wondering what Kyle actually does?
What does he do?
Here's how he can help.
What does he do? I'm going to focus again on Remodelers, autopilot.com. Remodelers with an S, autopilot.com. Your previous client list is your most valuable marketing asset. If you don't have your previous client list organized, that's actually the first thing that we do and help you with as part of the onboarding in Remodelers Autopilot is Bailey works step by step through our onboarding process, and we get your client list organized. We get your email system set up. We get your email template, professional logoed, personalized setup. And before you know it, you are sending out a consistent email each and every month to your full client list and list of prospects. It is super, super easy for you. It's super, super affordable. You can try it for $1, a $1 bill for the first month. After that, it's $125 a month. And there's like 3 other huge benefits that come with it. Social media posts, repurposing as a blog post, a full Ask Kyle Anything focus just on Remodelers Autopilot people. So keep that in mind. Remodelersautopilot.com. That's one of the ways I can help you. All right. It's the 2-minute warning.
It's the 2-minute warning.
It is. What did you learn today, folks? What did you learn today on the Remodelers show? John says, John, I feel like I forced it, though. Maybe I'll tell us about the map another time. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call, okay, love the picture. Oh, he's kind of inspired by the Great Lakes view there. I'll tell you real briefly. Actually, quick process check. Dan Ballman is the one that inspired me to start the Remodeler show. Tomorrow, instead of doing the Remodeler show at 12 o'clock, I had already signed up a few weeks ago to participate with Dan on the Designers show. I will post it on in the comments section. I'll post a link to it. I'll post a link to it on the Remodelers community group. So tomorrow I will be live at 12 o'clock. It'll just be on the Designers Show. I do believe, Bailey, you can double check thedesignersshow.com and you can get the link to it. So that's what we'll do tomorrow. And then all next week, I'm doing this again. I've committed to doing it for 3 weeks. We had a wonderful here first 4 days. Let's hear. We got one takeaway. What did we learn? How to engage a team. That's awesome, John. It's awesome. And I will finish by telling you about this. Folks, this is an authentic. It's real. It's like real. It's like matted on there. An authentic 1835 map of the great state of Michigan. I don't know why it is, but I love maps. And this was a late night stupid purchase. My wife had already gone to bed. I was kind of up working. It was during this Corona time. It was about a month and a half ago. And I thought to myself, oh, I want to start collecting old maps. And the next thing I know, I was pushing the purchase button after a bunch of research. And I had it nice and framed. It's just super cool that, I don't know, it's very cool. It's cool. I like it. I like history. I like maps. So that is what's up with the map. Love your referrals is another takeaway from today's show, says Jim. Excellent. All right, this continues to be fun. When you hear something that you like, when you have a takeaway, when you're like, Kyle, I should do better at that. What I want you to remember as a party shot of the Remodeler Show is work to implement it. I'm not going to yell at you about it. You're busy, I know, but write it down on a sheet of paper, put it on a big sticky note, make sure you see it, and say, okay, I'm going to implement this. Or you hear an idea about that referral, and yes, okay, I should do it. Thanks a lot to hear this or that. Even just sending a text literally 2 minutes from now as we wrap this up to that referral that sent you something and just say, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you sharing our name with so-and-so. I just met with them last week and I'm super excited. Take action. I'm saying it quietly. Take action. That's it. See you next time on the Remodelers Show.